For years, the standard method for earning yield in decentralized finance has relied on a single, massive container. Users take their digital assets and deposit them into massive, centralized smart contracts, self-executing code on a blockchain, pooling them together to earn a steady interest rate. Inside these contracts, every individual deposit is mixed into a single, indistinguishable mass of liquidity. When someone wants to borrow, they take a scoop out of this universal bucket. This architecture introduces a hidden systemic vulnerability known as shared risk. Because all the assets are commingled, the risk profile of the entire platform is dictated by its weakest link. A user can deposit a highly stable asset, but the central pool automatically lends it out against every collateral type accepted. If one volatile token fails, it triggers a chain reaction, draining the safe assets of users who never agreed to that specific risk. Investors and institutions eventually recognized the mathematical limits of this model. They needed a reliable way to generate yield without taking blind exposure to untrusted assets they couldn't control. Morpho was engineered as a universal lending network, designed specifically to shatter that monolithic pool model and isolate financial risk down to the atom. By unbundling shared risk into isolated, customizable components, it allows capital to flow securely, ensuring users only take on the exact risk they choose. Morpho's foundational infrastructure replaces the giant pool with strict, isolated lending markets, pairing exactly one loan asset with one collateral asset. Unlike legacy models, this physically contains risk. If a single collateral token fails, that specific market locks down, while adjacent pairs operate unaffected. However, this strict isolation creates a usability hurdle. For a standard depositor, manually managing and shifting assets across dozens of individual micromarkets requires too much time and technical expertise. To solve this, the protocol introduces Morpho vaults. These vaults abstract the complexity of micromanagement while retaining the strict security of underlying market isolation. These vaults are managed by curators, expert risk management firms like Gauntlet or Stakehouse Financial. These entities build, define, and oversee the precise parameters and asset allocations of each vault. Morpho separates the base infrastructure of lending from the active strategy of risk management. Expert analysts can build highly tailored risk profiles, and users can simply plug into them. The user journey begins by depositing a base asset, like USDC, into a specific curated vault that matches their personal risk tolerance. Upon deposit, the user instantly receives vault shares. These ERC4626 tokens mathematically represent exact proportional ownership of the vault's capital. Then, the curator's automated strategy takes over, strictly allocating pooled assets only to specific, isolated Morpho markets defined by the risk parameters. Yield is generated organically. Borrowers supply collateral to specific markets, borrow the user's loan token, and pay an interest rate. That paid interest accrues directly and continuously back to the vault. As the interest piles up, the underlying value of the user's vault shares increases. Beyond the base lending yield, users can also track and claim additional external incentive rewards that are integrated directly into the vault's distribution system. The security of this architecture relies on a strict boundary. Curators direct the strategy permissionlessly, but the system is entirely non-custodial. The curators never hold, touch, or possess the user's actual funds. Users maintain absolute sovereignty. They retain the technical power to withdraw original assets and all accrued yield at any moment directly from the smart contract. This flow guarantees that depositors earn an optimized, expert-managed yield without ever surrendering custody of their assets or exposing their capital to unapproved systemic risks. This isolated, curated architecture has driven massive real-world adoption across the decentralized finance landscape. This chart shows the quantitative proof of that scale. Total deposits within the Morpho network have surpassed $11 billion, spanning multiple blockchains and absorbing major blue-chip assets. This scale represents a transition away from opaque black box lending protocols. The industry is moving toward a fully transparent, verifiable infrastructure layer. Instead of guessing what their money is doing, depositors have access to specific, verifiable data points, exact market allocations, real-time capital utilization ratios, and the precise collateral their assets are lent against. This open infrastructure actively serves two distinct markets side by side, everyday retail users seeking reliable yield, and large institutions utilizing the network to build entirely new custom financial products. Morpho provides the foundational architecture to earn yield on your exact terms. It is an open infrastructure that serves the user, rather than extracting value from them. True financial sovereignty requires infrastructure that precisely adapts to the user's risk tolerance, rather than forcing the user to blindly adapt to the system. Accessing the Morpho protocol through partner applications is governed by their respective terms of use and Morpho's disclaimer. Users acknowledge they understand these terms and the risks involved.